right, looks like it's 5:30. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have the consent agenda. Is there anything that you'd like to have removed from the consent agenda at this time? Nothing? Okay. Moving on to fiscal business, fiscal officer's report.
Yes, sir. I wanted to take a couple minutes to talk about an email that Matt sent you and the counselor did this last week about doing rentals at our parks. One of the things that was within that was the exposure that we faced with actually charging rent for those particular facilities. And while as fiscal officer, I always want to find ways to make more money. But in this particular case, I would like the board to consider the possibility of getting rid of those particular fees, if just for the mere fact that the money that we get from it could be offset by, for example, when we have our Native Indian Festival, they have tent stakes in there. Somebody falls over and loses an eye or does something like that because we've charged for that. That puts us at substantial risk. I mean, even if we didn't intend to have it happen, that's the way the society and our laws are written. So, just as one thought there, just to have you think about that.
Okay, let's talk about that right now. Is that all right? Talk about this now?
Absolutely.
Having read that, I said we need to stop. We need to start charging fees. Now, but we still probably need to think about scheduling.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have those same fights that you get at the docks on who got there first.
See, I think that's a.
There's a great episode of My Name is Earl that is actually exactly that.
So I think you guys are correctly noting the tension in the policies. So Russ is absolutely right. Look, you've got a potential additional liability factor here. The trustees, and I'm sure Russ will all go, well, now we're going to have first come, first served, and it's going to be,
Well,
there's a tension there, no doubt about it.
I thought we looked into this when we talked about the fees.
We did. I brought it up before, but it was the board's decision at that time to continue to collect fees. But when it comes up in the law, every once in a while, they bring it to my attention.
Well, and yeah.
That's why I want to bring it back. I don't need to hound you.
No, but I guess I thought that at that time, we discovered that there was a certain liability exposure whether we charge them or not.
So you have...
We always have liability.
You will have so you're talking about what's known as recreational user immunity. You're not talking about sovereign immunity. You may have other defenses, but this one particular defense says, if I allow my property, by the way, it applies to private owners too, but if I allow my property to be used for recreational purposes, and I don't charge, and I don't limit who comes there, if something happens on that property, I'm going to be immune, generally speaking. Now that's recreational user immunity. It sounds like taking drugs. That's another issue. That doesn't include sovereign immunity. It doesn't include defects. It doesn't include what's known as open and obvious danger. So you still have all those defenses, but the defense that you might lose is the recreational user immunity defense.
But in the fact that we're going to allow people to reserve it, even at no charge, aren't we still opening up?
There's also potential that a court may say, well, you're limiting the use, so even though you're not charging, it's two factors, not charging and limiting the use. So yeah, court could take that position and say that's a limit of the use.
Although I did, in that particular instance that you used as an example, that was what the court actually hooked on, was the actual dollars.
No doubt. And in that case, it was the guest. It wasn't even the actual rental. It was the guest of the rental.
Which is the exact situation that I saw turn into a $245,000 settlement and a prior employer. So.
And again, it's one of those where it's certainly understandable while someone would say, and it's easy again, a suit says, well, the case says this, so don't do it. But you guys have to govern. And, it can be ungovernable to say, well, because the suit says we're potentially liable, we're not going to do that. And yet then you have 50,000 people lining up for the shelter, it's first come, first served, and that isn't necessarily the best public policy either.
I don't think we can not.
Well, see, I'm willing to risk the liability for doing reservations of it.
And I'm not,
Because
That- I
limiting the
agree.
user,
I'm not putting a dog, let's be clear, I'm not putting a dog in the fight, I'm recognizing
No,
there are legitimate issues on both sides. You go in clear-eyed and you say, this is why we're doing it.
Well, you know, we have a park for people who need to use it, and you're always gonna have somebody that's gonna sue you for something, and you may win and you may lose every day.
if you're charging fees though,
I can see.
pretty clear. that
Yeah, the
That was-
fee,
that was
the
very clear.
the fee is always gonna be a loser on recreational user immunity,
Okay.
yes.
You know, we can keep the same setup that we have now in terms of how we reserve the shelters, but just not charge for them.
And what was it, $1,500 or $1,100?
Around 2,000 some, wasn't it?
For,
For the rental of
Fees.
oh,
the
this
fees.
past year, 2020 is an anomaly, so I
Yeah.
would use the financials for that, but it's usually around $5,500, $6,000 on a normal year. I
Well,
think my
that's-
recommendation obviously would be, let's go ahead and keep any fees for currently rented reservations, and then going forward after those, from whatever the board, if you do decide to make a decision, I wouldn't want to have to go and retroactively refund stuff.
No,
I would say pick a day,
Yeah, so-
July 1st or something like that, or say, after the,
Like they
we won't
should
be
do for me.
charging fees.
Yeah, like they should do for me in Social Security, because they keep telling me it's gonna be out by the time I get it, just got the day off. So I'll stop paying. I mean, that's fine, I mean, that's not chicken feed either.
No, I mean, $6,000 is $6,000.
But we'll save that, not have to pay for even any more money.
I mean,
Fair
if you
enough.
have, you know, a lawsuit every 10 years, you know, you're gonna be money ahead. And heck, that's just the way it is.
It's just a way. Well, do you guys want to go ahead and act on that? Do you want Matt to do some legislation, or we can probably
I
just?
think you need to do legislation on it.
Okay, so you'll put something together for us for the next meeting.
Sure.
Steve?
So there'd be, a reservation fee, not for the rental of the
Just for the
the
paper.
unit, just for the paperwork reservation fee, so people would not reserve it and not show up, or?
My guess is that would be the same, well, I mean, it's an interesting question. I don't know that I've seen a case actually say that.
Same umbrella.
Yeah, or deal with that. I feel like it would be under the same umbrella, but you raised a distinction in the case law that I haven't seen specifically, that the fee is just,
An application fee as opposed to a rental fee.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
might be different.
Administrative fee or whatever it is.
Why don't you check on that, and then let Matt know, and just, you know, nothing wrong, just because you're, well, good point, $25 application fee, or 10, or whatever. you know.
My guess is that a court would say, that's still the ticket to get you into the door, that's close enough, that would be, yeah, I think that's where that would end up.
I wouldn't be surprised. Well, check on that,
Yep.
and just build it in whatever's right.
Yep.
And,
Got it.
You might touch base, if it's okay, touch base with us individually. I would think, probably a $20 fee would be plenty, if it's gonna be okay.
And this is
What do you guys
attention,
think?
sorry.
Oh, because I read it.
Fine. I mean, if it's
It's
can be
okay.
differentiated, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is a tension I see within every jurisdiction who has a park, right? It's the same liability versus access.
Okay. All right, thank you. Russell, back.
Yes, sir. And the last piece of information for today is our first lease payment. So before you is a resolution that we'll be doing twice a year. This is the first of the lease payments, and then in November, we'll be coming back with the second lease payment. So it's here before you tonight for your action, sir.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve or deny Resolution 5301?
I'll move to approve.
And suspend with the second reading and declare an emergency.
Second.
Oh. Gosh. Mr. Mueller's fault.
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard.
Yay.
Mr. Wade.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Morning, Ralph.
I'm done.
You're done?
I'm done.
It's easy.
Causing enough havoc.
No public comment tonight, I guess. And road parks, we have Resolution 5302, a resolution accepting public streets for maintenance in Surveyor Farm. Second floor.
Yeah, just a routine resolution to accept maintenance responsibility for the streets in that plant, the relevant parts of what's called Rothschild now, it's formerly Midwood, and the entirety of Margot, which is a cul-de-sac that runs west off of Rothschild. And this just dispenses with the second reading, no need for an emergency.
Okay. Motion to approve 5302 and declare, or suspend the second reading.
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Okay. Anything else under Parks and Roads?
No.
Okay. Planning and zoning, resolution 5303, a resolution to determine the maintenance of specific tracts of land constitutes a nuisance.
It's grass cutting time, and people need to be notified. So, that's what your first resolution is dealing with, 2 properties out of, about 12 of them that we looked at that were at that standard, so we'll probably have more coming back for the next round.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve 5303?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And then we have 5304, determining the conditions of specific tract of land at 329 Chapel Drive.
Yeah, so we're usually hitting that with grass nuisance. We, years ago, put a nuisance through just so we are on the means to board it up. Looks like some animals have chewed their way into the building, so we want that area closed back up.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve 5304?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And we have 5305, resolution determining that the condition of specific tract of land at 9079 Bonneville Road is insecure, unsafe, and so on and so forth, and dispense with the second reading. Emergency.
So this one we dealt with years ago also. At that point in time, was a tarp roof from the Hurricane Ike season, which they never replaced the roof. Finally got to replace the roof. It's not currently being lived in, but it's one that needs to be secured, so we've got issues with those, the soffit and the fascia for the roof mechanism, and the garage door also is allowing animals to go freely.
Is there a motion to approve 5305?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yeah. Anything else, Jeff?
No, just that.
Okay. I have the police department recommendation to accept the following donations to benefit safety tax.
Yeah, we had 4 individuals and companies that gave donations to Safety Town this year. Sandy's is always a partner in that, and we donated $750. Elite Computers donated $500. Simpson Foley donated $500, and Wayne C. Williams donated $50. And we asked the board to accept those donations to Safety Town. We thank them for their contributions for that.
Yeah, very nice. So a motion to accept these contributions.
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yeah. Steve, nothing new? Just what's on the consent agenda?
Just the monthly report.
Okay. Administration?
I'm causing problems everywhere else, so I can't do that.
All right, consent agenda is next, and we've not changed anything. There's a motion to approve the consent agenda as it's presented.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. Staff updates. Now
I had a couple of things. I did put in the email to you, and I sent out the meeting packet to gauge if there was any interest in doing a ceremonial groundbreaking for the new police building and the new building up the hill, or whether we just want to quietly go about our business.
Personally, I think quiet's a very good thing. Whatever you guys think.
Unless we get to use a backhoe, I'm not very interested in trouble.
We'll use the new track hoe.
Okay.
You can all take a turn.
We can do that
We
without
can
that
have our
president.
celebration one day.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right.
I prefer to keep it quiet as well, but I didn't want to sway the board's opinion, so.
No, I think quiet's okay.
Memorial Day Parade is scheduled for Monday at 2 p.m. I'm sure that the parade chair, by the way, Doug Wright apparently stepped away from it. Apparently he's been doing it a long, long time, but he stepped away this year, and someone else is handling it on a semi-temporary, permanent basis. I don't know which. But that's in the offing, and a bit of bright note of coming back to maybe something resembling normal. That spring thing, Expo 2021, is a go for Saturday, June 5th at Springboro High School. They're going to limit attendance inside the building, so we'll see how that actually turns out. But it's a live and in-person event, so that's trending the right way.
Yes, it is. If I understand, they're also going to do away with all the kids' things that happened earlier in the day.
Correct. The choral
all the
concerts
things that
and that
draw
kind of
the
stuff.
grandmas and grandpas in.
It's unfortunate that we have to lose that stuff, but hey, you know, at least it's in person and you start trending back towards something that looks like normal. And the last note is I will be out of the office from this Thursday to Tuesday, so just an FYI.
Okay. Anybody else under staff reports? Jeffrey, yes, sir.
I didn't think you guys got to talk with me enough, so I'm going to come back to that.
That's right.
About a month ago, we had our discussion for our special meeting with regards to the business note 4873. I gave you guys some homework, start thinking about some things. Just wanted to check back and see if there's any direction at this point in time.
Well, I don't know that I have any great thoughts on that.
And then that's fine, I just wanted to bring it back up, and it's something we can revisit again the next quarterly, or if you guys have things you want to talk to me individually, happy to do so. Just didn't want to leave it hanging.
You know, we don't have sewer there,
Correct.
unless we had a windfall with a bunch of money to get sewer there. And I don't see how it's ever going to be expanded much, or maybe even could be.
I mean, I know,
North from there, but south and east and west. I think it's a pretty good spot, but it's about as good as it should be for the community.
I'd like to see the corners built up a little bit with something that benefits the community, whether it's that part of town or whatever it might be, but again, the sewer becomes the issue.
Yeah.
I mean, Starbucks doesn't take up much sewer,
Well, is there truly
a Dunkin'
a
Donuts.
set of uses that you want to see there that are not currently that you think would be of benefit? I mean, we talked about the CVS's, how that property for...
I mean, that to me is a logical place for something like that.
Yeah,
I know our police chief isn't a big fan, but I don't always have to keep him happy. Give him something to do. You know, I mean, a Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid type of, I think that would be the best, whichever corner it is. I mean, even the windswept corner would probably be logistically better than that corner, but that one wasn't available when they were looking, so. That's my 2 cents. I mean, I know when I go out there, I mean, there's a reason that B&B carries what they carry. It's because they have a demand for it. And when you go back and look at what they started to carry in this other side of their space, there's an opportunity for us that I think we could serve that whole Silver Lake, Harlan Road area, as well as north and south. But it's just a matter of what they would need to survive on septic-wise.
Yeah, and I think, as I recall, back when they were looking and actually coming through here to put CVS in, or was it CVS? Walgreens?
Well, CVS was the primary one at the south.
The lot just wasn't big enough. What they purchased was something they didn't realize they couldn't build on.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Windswept, to me, if they went over to that corner, it seems like they'd have more space.
Yeah, the limitations, they came in being more of an urban, this is what
Right.
we're gonna have, we've got an acre, we've got all the space, well, we gotta cut all this stuff out, and have to have a leach field, a down system,
Right.
parking buffer,
Right.
you know, became the need way. So, yeah, redevelopment of the windswept PUD, so it's just, could be something that could occur. And it's currently at a stage 2, allowing for gas station and a big box plus strip mall elements. So it's just someone to come there and say, hey, I'm finally ready to do a part or parts of that possibility. Obviously, we were anticipating with that development, had the Century 2 brought down, so.
Yeah, that would change the look of whatever they did there too.
Or windmill apartments, windswept being the one on the.
Yeah,
my apologies.
I said it.
My apologies.
No,
I got in my mind
did.
also, since that has now sold, so.
Yeah.
Well, and to get through there is not gonna be easy.
No, it's gonna cost,
I
and
can't imagine.
that's where, I want to see if it had sewer, was there uses that you as trustees wanted to encourage location? If so, then that goes down pathway of how do we rezone property, what requirements we put in place. If you're saying, hey, let it flow as it's flowing, and if we can encourage, these are things we'd like to encourage with
Well,
street.
if we encourage something that is large enough that needs the sewer, then we also have the battle of the residents in the area that don't want anything that large, as we have plainly known.
Yes, it is a T
That
topic.
they're not going to be happy if we do that.
Yeah.
So it's, do we really need it that bad? Is it worth making everybody out there mad because we did that? That's what we have to decide, isn't it? And then go after somebody and try to find money.
Well, and yeah, the money, the piece of the whole, I mean, it's a big if, right? I
Well, when
mean,
Kroger was gonna come out there, they were gonna pay.
to run it all the way down there.
So you have to have somebody with that kind of deep pockets, or they can't get there. We can't fund it.
And I think there would be a different, I think that reception of whatever that would look like would be different than it was when it happened at that time. Just because of what's developed since then. When you look at the addition of a couple hundred houses that have now, I mean, Silver Lake is, I just drove back through there again. That just keeps going and going and going and going. And those are all $500,000 homes on up. So, I mean, my friends that live out there have been introduced to B&B and they appreciate it, but they would certainly like something else to support that. Not having to drive into Centerville or Lebanon or Springville. So.
Okay.
Well, for right now, I guess we should probably just, unless somebody comes up with some great ideas that specifically we want to work on as trustees and can give Jeff some direction, I'd put it on hold until maybe in the fall and bring it up again. Is that all right? I don't have any great ideas on how to make that happen out there.
No, it's the same thing, same thing as Redline. We're in the same both places.
Somebody's got to pay.
Yep. Well, I just wanted to make sure that if we had direction, we go forward. Happy to put it on the back burner and continue to think about it and have it percolate.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions from the staff? Anything else? That's it. Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Mr. Musall.
Yeah.
Ms. West.
Yeah.
Mr. White.